So before I get started with this, I have to give a huge shout out to the one LVZ because he pointed something out in a live stream that he just recently did. And I don't know why I didn't think to do a video about this, mainly because it flew way under the radar, mainly because of them constantly talking about Sha'Carri Richardson. But what I'm about to talk about actually happened way before what happened with Sha'Carri Richardson. As a matter of fact, they did the same thing with Shelby Houlihan because hers happened before Sha'Carri Richardson. And this, what I'm about to talk about, happened before Shelby Houlihan. So back in December of last year, it got found out or got discovered that the Russian team ended up getting caught using substances that was on the anti-doping list. Now, I'm not sure what substance it was, but I'm sure when I read this article, it's going to explain it. But they ended up getting banned from competing in this Olympics that's happening right now. However, if they do compete, they just cannot perform under the Russian banner, meaning their anthem can't play. They cannot go over there. They can't compete in the games representing the nation of Russia. So their whole team got suspended, but they're still allowed to compete. I wonder why. As a matter of fact, they not only got suspended from the Tokyo games, but they also got suspended from the France games as well. That happens in 2024. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. And usually I don't reach back, but because in this instance I had to reach back just a little bit just to get this story. Russia has been banned from fielding a national team in the next two Olympics and any world championship sporting event for the next 2 years, a decision that reduces the length of Russia's suspension issued by the World Anti-Doping Agency last year. Individual Russian athletes who compete will not be allowed to use their nation's flag and anthem. In a decision announced Thursday, the Court of Arbitration for Sports unanimously found that Russia was not in compliance with international anti-doping rules. The World Anti-Doping Agency has sought a stiffer 4-year ban for Russia, though the Switzerland-based court said the lighter penalty should not be read as validation for Russia's actions. It has considered matters of proportionality and, in particular, the need to effect cultural change and encourage the next generation of Russian athletes to participate in clean international sport. Under the terms of the ruling, the word Russia can appear on athletes' uniforms as long as the phrase neutral athlete is equally prominent. Uniforms may not bear the Russian flag, but will be permitted to have the flag's colors. The Russian national anthem will not be played or sung at any official event venue. The 2-year period begins today and ends in December 16th, 2022. The ruling will affect Russia's participation at the next Summer Olympics in Tokyo, the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, as well as the 2002 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. For those events, Russian teams will be banned, but Russian athletes will not. Now look at that. So it's almost like they got a half punishment. They're half in, half out. They can go and compete as long as they are a neutral athlete. They can't represent Russia, so to speak. And they can't compete in the other upcoming well, they can compete, it will affect it. So basically, if they win any gold medals, so to speak, it won't be, oh, Russia's taking home the gold or the silver or the bronze. They'll just take home the gold, but it won't be in representation for the nation of Russia. But at least they'll still be able to compete. So that's why I said it's like a half punishment. RUSADA, the Russian Anti-Doping Agency, must pay $1.27 million to WADA for costs incurred in its investigation. It was not clear why the court agreed with WADA's findings, but decided on a weaker penalty than the 4-year ban the body announced last December. So like I said, remember, this article that I'm reading is from December of last year, and I think they're talking about more so of, yeah, it is from last year. It is from last year. Even though this one right here that you see on your screen says June 30th, 2021. So this is more of an updated one. Basically, they're only reiterating what I'm reading right now. WADA said in a statement that the ruling was a clear endorsement of its assertion that data from a laboratory in Moscow had been tampered with before being handed over to WADA investigators, and said it was pleased to have won the case. We are, however, disappointed with the CAS panel did not endorse each and every one of our recommended consequences for the 4-year ban we requested. The egregious manipulation by the Russian authorities of data retrieved by WADA intelligence and investigations from the Moscow laboratory was the latest in a long list of offenses, and it has led to led today to significant consequences for authorities. Russian authorities were afforded every opportunity to get their house in order and rejoin the global anti-doping community for the good of their athletes and the integrity of the sport, but they chose instead to continue on their path of deception and denial. Are you listening to what they're saying? And this is for an entire team. No matter if it's the Olympics, soccer, or any type of world event or world team event, they cannot compete under the banner of Russia. And that's the whole team, not just one person, but the entire team. This flew way under the radar. RUSADA said it was not fully satisfied either. It seems that not all arguments presented by our lawyers were heard. The agency's acting head, Mikhail Bukhanov, said in a statement to the Associated Press. Travis Tygart, the CEO of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, expressed grave disappointment with the decision, which he said hands WADA and cleans athletes a significant loss. That is true, because the thing is, the actions of a few affected everybody, and literally everybody, even those who had no participation. In certain sports. So it's like this could have came from maybe just the soccer players, I'm hypothetically saying, but it affected all the other athletes outside of soccer. At this stage in the sordid Russian state-sponsored doping affair, now spanning close to a decade, there is no consolation in this weak, watered-down outcome. While the first instinct is to express obvious shock, the fact is that we should have all seen this coming. WADA and the IOC have manipulated and mishandled the sordid Russian state doping affair from day one and have put politics over principle once again. In addition to other loopholes, this decision expressly gives IOC members from Russia special treatment and exempts them from any consequence for their bad acts that rob sports and clean athletes. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee echoed that sentiment. What is clear at this point is that the blatant disregard shown for the rules and purpose of anti-doping regulations in this case has harmed clean athletes and gone further to erode confidence in the international anti-doping construct. The USOPC has heard clearly from our own athlete representatives their view that there is an urgent need for leadership and deep, expedient changes to the current governance systems and organizations responsible for the international anti-doping movement. The committee added, they feel the current status quo deeply threatens the short and long-term prospect of athletes and the Olympic Paralympic movements as a whole. All I have to say is this after reading this. Any of the people that was involved with this, they better not have fixed their mouths to say anything about the whole Sha'Carri, the rules are rules type of deal. That's all I have to say. They better not fix their mouths to do that. Now, to move on further to this article right here, it just says Russian athletes are barred from competing at major international events, including the Olympics, with their flag and anthem until late 2022. More than 330 Russians will compete in Tokyo under the name ROC, an acronym for Russian Olympic Committee. So see, even they're even like, that's why I said it's a half punishment. They're punished because they can't compete under the Russian banner or use their anthem, everything like that. But they're still allowed to compete. It's just that whatever wins they get, it just won't be, oh, I won this on behalf of Russia. No, you won it under, what is this thing, ROC, which is not technically Russia. The rights and interests of our athletes must be protected from any arbitrariness, including from decisions that individual countries are trying to impose around the world far beyond their national jurisdiction. Putin told athletes at a ceremony at the Kremlin, all of Russia will be cheering for you. I wish you great victories in an honorable and fair competition. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. They don't really specify what they got banned for as far as the drugs. It also goes into some other places where they have had some bans that have happened, but I'm not going to go into that. But yeah. So there you have it. And this, like I said, flew way under the radar. Like, they literally banned an entire team. Not just one time, but a few times. It says systematic doping in Russian sports has resulted in 47 Olympic and tens of world championship medals being stripped from Russian competitors, the most of any country. more than 4 times the number of the runner-up and more than 30% of the global total. Russia has the most competitors that have been caught doping at the Olympic Games in the world, with more than 200. Let's see. It says due to widespread doping violations, including an attempt to sabotage ongoing investigations by the manipulation of computer data. Now look at that. They tried to sabotage the investigation after they got caught. Like, this is a whole list. I can see why they kept this under wraps. This is a lot of information right here. So it did happen in 2019. It said ban Russia from all major sporting events for 4 years, and it says the ban was later reduced to 2 years. So literally, they was going to be banned from 2020 to 2024, but instead now they're banned until 2022, which means there's probably a small window of a chance that they might be able to compete under the Russian banner in 2024 in France. They said because of an appeal, they said competitors from Russia are allowed to compete in international competitions, but under a neutral flag and designation. They said they had doping issues dating back to 2008 to 2009 for manipulating their urine samples. I'm trying to see what else. Their stuff goes back pretty far. Like, I'm talking about even some going back to 2001. Like, it's just crazy. So it seems to me Russia just has they literally are some of the rebels when it comes to this thing. But Lamestream media, leave it up to them, will not mention this. And the thing is, this is quote unquote public knowledge. Like, if you just go onto Google and just type in Russian doping, all of this stuff that I'm looking at right now will pop up on your end. I highly suggest you go ahead and read it for yourself and find out what else you can find out. Because like I said, it's a lot. I'm not going to read every single thing. It's just that the more I find, the more interesting it becomes.